It wasn't a pretty one. It was not a pretty one.
Thank you, God.
But we are playing victory music tonight. Monday night, Celtics catch the dub against the Cavs. And I don't know if I want to say this is the right phrase, but that was a much needed win. Now, I don't mean like in terms of the season or a long term or anything like that, but in terms of leaving that 2-game series, I guess, against Cleveland, losing both games would leave a ridiculously bad taste in Celtics fans' mouth. So at least we do split the series after, I get it, they only lost by a couple points, but getting embarrassed the first time out, blowing a lead and everything like that, at least the Celtics kind of fight back here, deal with some injuries, and sort of grit out a win. Now, again, wasn't pretty, but it's still a victory. We're playing victory music tonight, so welcome everyone to the Celtics Live post-game show. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. Like the video if you are watching right now, and we are going to get to all chat tonight. If you do want to skip the line, or if you just want to support me or support the show, make sure to drop a super chat as well. But let's get into the box score here. We got player of the game as well, and then we'll get to some of your chat. Again, they really just kind of grinded this one out. The total stayed below 200 points. The Celtics won at 98-92. Jayson Tatum, 23 points, 8 boards, 5 assists. Spoiler alert, we'll talk about him when we get to the player of the game a little bit more. Al Horford, 17 points, 9 boards, 3 assists. I will say this about Al. You know, Robert Williams goes down, misses the rest of the second half with a knee injury, knee soreness. You don't want to see that. You don't want to hear that. Al Horford did step up, played almost 32 minutes tonight, hit a few threes, hit a few big threes, got some big boards, couple big blocks. Al Horford stepped up, only took 10 shots tonight. 70% from the floor, 75% from three, 17 points total from him. Again, Robert Williams left early. Marcus Smart, 14 points. Dennis Schroeder, 14 points. And Grant Williams, 11 points out of him. And Josh Richardson also played all right as well with 9 points. I think Josh Richardson had sort of an up and down type ball game, if I'm being completely honest. Like, he had that technical, had a couple plays where, like they got him on the travel. It was a little weird, but nonetheless, Celtics did catch the dub on the Cleveland side of things. Only 1 or 2, I guess. Yeah, we can say 2 guys to talk about here. Ricky Rubio and Chetty Osmond combined for over 50 from those guys. So, I mean, usually when a guy like, Osmond or a guy like Rubio drops near 30 on you, we're talking about a Celtics loss, right? Because the Celtics always find a way to let somebody drop almost 30 on them. They let those 2 guys do that tonight, but still got the dub there. But player of the game tonight, I think this was an obvious one. Jayson Tatum, 23 points, 8 boards, 5 assists from him. And when I say obvious, I mean Jayson Tatum, it didn't seem like anyone on the Celtics was playing that well for the majority of that game. But I will admit, I think Jayson Tatum really kind of at least pushed them through this. Like, this is the type of game where someone could have given up and we could have just said, we'll mail it in, sucks to suck. Jayson Tatum hit some big shots, so we will take it. Again, a win's a win in this situation. Kind of gritty, but it is what it is. Let's get to some of the chat here. Sweaty says, hi. Len saying, finally. Phil says, go Celtics. Sweaty saying, we still played pretty bad. Yeah, 100% still played bad. 14 turnovers. A lot of those came early in the game as well. 23 assists here. Jayson Tatum and Marcus Smart had some late assists. When they flashed the assist leaders for the game, it was Al Horford with 3, and that was with half a quarter left to go in the entire game. You know what I mean? So yeah, this was a sort of grinded out, just don't give up game. If the Celtics, I genuinely believe, coming off of that, loss to Cleveland just a couple nights ago, if the Celtics just didn't give up, they would win this game, which is what they did. So, I mean, you could take that as a positive. You could take that as I guess we grinded that one out. We'll take it. You could take it any way you want. But if we look at the facts, it's going to count as a win on the score. But, that is way better than losing the game. I shouldn't have to explain that to you guys, right? It wasn't an inspiring win. I'm not looking at the Celtics now taking it to next game going, all right, we're building on something here. No. I just know that we wouldn't be building on anything if the Celtics were to drop that game, right? If the Celtics were to lose that game, then we have a way bigger problem on our hands. So, again, it sounds cliche, but that is, and the Celtics have had a couple of these this year. That is a win's a win type of game. You use that saying, oh, well, a win's a win, and it's kind of the truth. Because as much as, we'd like to go out and see them go out there and blow out Cleveland and stuff like that, it clearly wasn't in the cards. That Celtics team came out flat as anything. Gear saying, let's go. Tiff's checking in. Lance saying, still not comfortable with this team to win against bad teams like Detroit and the Rockets. I mean, I will say this. Now, I totally agree. Like, this team seemingly still has, we got rid of Brad Stevens, right? This team still has that sort of play down to your competition vibe to them. But one thing that I can admit is that and this sounds crazy. It'd probably could look back on this and be like, wow, Ev, are you kidding me? But I don't know if this Cleveland Cavaliers team is bad. Like, I don't know if this team is Pistons level or Rockets level or Magic level. Like, I don't think so. And I think, you look at the roster and you'd probably be like, oh, well, yeah, they kind of are. Like, they have less talent, no vets, like that type of thing. But this Cavs team actually, and we saw it 2 nights in a row now, they can play, they can fight, and they can claw at you. And I guess, they're going to catch good teams off guard all the time. So I will say, I'm not inspired by this Celtics win. I don't think that this is the type of team that at least what we've seen so far is going to go out there and, get the job done, blow out Detroit, blow out the Cavs, blow out Houston. But I'm going to be honest, I don't know if Cleveland's in that spot. Like, I don't know if that's the type of team Cleveland is. So far this year, they've been a better team than I think anyone would have thought. Phil says, gotta split, good to split, but need to be much better. Yeah, 100%. Like, if the Celtics want to take that to, the next month or so, or they want to get back on track to being, a true playoff team, that type of thing's not going to fly. Wednesday night, they're going to play the Hawks. Friday, they're going to play the Lakers. Then they play the Thunder. Hopefully they get that. Then they have the Rockets. There's sort of those 2 games that we're talking about, just stomping them. The Celtics do need to play better than that, right? Like, the Celtics got lucky that Cleveland, as I was just, pumping air in their tires, for much of that game, Cleveland decided to be that bad team that I guess they can be. So I guess I don't want to say the Celtics got lucky, but I will say that type of basketball the Celtics played tonight, especially to start the game and at times where it sort of dipped, that shit honestly is not going to fly with even a slightly good team. You know what I mean? And Cleveland's been a slightly good team this year, maybe better than slightly good team. But they had times during that game where they really opened the door for the Celtics. And I guess if we want to be positive here, the Celtics did step through the door. Brendan's saying, gritty win. Looks like we're building towards where we want to be. 5-2 since Orlando. We're an elite defense during that stretch. Not perfect, but there's progress. Or am I just optimist? Definitely an optimist. I will give you that, Brendan. But I don't hate it. Like again, you can look at these, and that's how I'm kind of looking at it. Would you rather lose this? And we got a super chat from Ryan we'll get to in 1 second. Appreciate that, Ryan. And so just to finish up that last point, like, you can be an optimist here, but there's 2 ways to look at it. And I'm kind of more on the pessimistic train, but I'm still leaning a little optimist. So if that makes sense, let me explain myself. Optimism is like, oh, this is an inspiring win. We can take anything we did in this game and apply it to next game. I don't know if I agree with that. Okay? What I do agree with, if someone were to, walk with me and say this, is that this is the type of game where, there was an opportunity to lose it. And if the Celtics just rolled over and died, all of a sudden we're looking at a way different sort of vibe for the rest of the season. So that's when I started the show saying this is a must win. Not really must win in terms of like, record-wise or anything like that. It was more of there could be a tone set by dropping 2 to Cleveland back and forth. But I don't know if there's anything in this game to build, Brendan. But we do have the super chat here. It's coming in from Ryan. He says Tatum was just settling for threes in the second half. Yeah, and I will say this, and let me know if you guys agree or disagree with this, but a lot of Tatum's threes tonight, like, I'll be completely honest. We'll flash that up again because we didn't get the appropriate shout out we deserve, or Ryan deserved there. So shout out to Ryan there for the $2. Guys, if you do want to skip the line, make sure to drop a super chat just like Ryan. To his comment, Tatum was just settling for threes in the second half. I will say this, and this is not something I usually always, would agree with or say, but Jayson Tatum did kind of sort of get a lot of good looks at 3 today. Does that make sense? Like, I know 2 of 8 from 3, 25% isn't what we're wanting. And all year long, we've kind of seen Jayson Tatum take bad shot after bad shot after bad shot after bad shot. But what I will admit, and I do got to admit it, is that I truly saw a lot of open looks for Tatum. So settling, I can agree with that, but I don't hate some of the shot selections, which, there's been games this year we've got on here and talked about how, a game like that, the Celtics, just the Celtics as a whole, but also Jayson Tatum were just jacking shots, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if I would totally go down that road this time, but I will say, like, in a back and forth game, I know a 3-pointer is a huge momentum swinger, but how about a couple layups here? Put them away. Like, Dennis Schroeder did a perfect job to nail the coffin in there, or put a nail in the coffin, whatever the hell the saying is, right? Dennis Schroeder pick and roll with Al Horford, lobs it up to him. Easy finish. Dennis Schroeder, next possession, acts like he's going to do the same exact thing, then blows by lay-in. Next time down, acts like he's going to do the exact same thing he just did, and he blows by the big man, but then spins around for a nice little short jumper. Like, think about how those all built on each other. That's a guy that just wanted the easy bucket, and he was building on not settling. And I know we're going on a rant here, but I do want to get that last thing in. Think about it. Dennis Schroeder, pick and roll, feeds the big man. Next time out, acts like they're setting up a pick and roll before it's all ready to go. He just, boom, right to the hoop. Then next time, they act like they're setting up the pick and roll. Now they're thinking, okay, he's either going to pass it or he's going to go to the hoop for a lay-in. Then he goes to the hoop and spins around. Like Dennis Schroeder had sort of a plan, an agenda, and you could trust the ball with him there. Jayson Tatum settled for jump shots. Whether they're good jump shots or not, I don't know if he was doing the opposite and looking to go to the hoop. I can agree with that. Tiffany's saying, like that hat. All right, here we go. Yeah, this is, I think... I don't know. I lost track. I was trying to keep record with the hats this year, but this hat I know we've had a win before in. Let's see. Halson's saying go Celtics. Kick saying nice win. Ubi saying good W. Let's see. Chris saying at least is the term for the last 3 years. Jared saying you're an optimist. We are trash. And if we're struggling with the Cavs, we can forget about the season. At least I have. Well, Jared, then hop off the Celtics train. Like, I mean, if you want to be a total pessimist, that's fine, right? Like, and at least you're admitting it. You're admitting you're hopping up and you're not watching. But the thing I'll say is, like, I don't think I'm being an optimist about this game. But what I will say is, like, you know, it's better. And I don't know why I feel like I have the need to keep saying that, but it's better to win this game than lose it. They won it. At least you don't tear anything down. Again, you're not building towards anything else, but nothing in this game is going to impact the future. You know what I mean? If they lost this game, I would say, oh boy, a losing streak's coming or anything like that. It's a win. The best thing that happened about this win is that you can now forget about this game. If they lost that game, you're not forgetting about it. Just like you didn't forget about the Cavs a couple nights ago. So call me an optimist, right? But then I'll call you a pessimist if you're jumping off the train right now. The Celtics are, 15 games into the year? Like, jump off the train then, by all means. I think you should hang around for just a few more stops here. But hey, you do you. Joe's saying another dub is a dub. Exactly. Ubi saying it's like either we start slow, finish strong, or start strong and finish slow. That's kind of true. Like how about 48 minutes? The Celtics team for a couple years now has just defied the idea of playing 48 minutes, right? Like the Celtics like to play 35 minutes, or we'll go even number, right? 36 minutes there with the quarters. Forgetting a quarter. Like the Celtics would be so good if you could play 3 quarters and just pick your best 3 quarters. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, we'll play 4 quarters, but then at the end, you just get to pick which quarters you want to count. Celtics would be the championship team if that was the case. They play 36 minutes like no one. But that's tough. That's not how the sport works, huh? That's tough. That's not how the sport works. Joe saying Cantor balled out. I mean, Cantor got some run today. 8 minutes, 5 points, 2 rebounds. That travel kind of stunk. Chris saying the number one problem for the C's right now is the lack of an identity. I think that's true. I mean, so here, I'll twist that because I don't know if it's truly an identity. Like, I don't even know if I guess it's true if I can't even nail down the identity. But what I will say is there's no, to me, there's no true game plan. The only thing that we know truly about this Celtics team is that they switch everything on defense. You know what I mean? Are they a pick and roll offense? Are they a drive and kick offense? Are they a shooting offense? Are they, pound it down low? Or they play it slow, get good looks, run playoff? They don't have that. A lot of teams in the league don't have that. And guess what? Those aren't the teams that are winning championships or beating good teams. Like, you have to have, and maybe that's what you mean by identity. That's why I kind of took it there, Chris. It's like they don't have okay, what is our game plan? Because you can't just go out there and be like, oh, we have Jayson Tatum, and then when he gets back, we have Jaylen Brown. Like, I get it. You can have superstars in this league, and it can work out, but you do need a game plan. Like Grant Williams playing, and again, he played well tonight, so credit to it, but Grant Williams playing 23 minutes, and I don't even know if that's because Rob left. Like, I think that Grant Williams already was in the game before Rob was even out, that type of thing. Playing 23 minutes, next game he's going to play like 2 minutes. You got to figure something out here. You got to have some sort of a game plan. You bring in Aaron Nesmith, who looked all right, 10 minutes. Romeo Langford looked all right, 15 minutes. Peyton Pritchard played 4 minutes. Cantor, 8 minutes. Like, it seems like you're doing a whole lot of, and I've said it over and over again, and people can disagree with it because it's not the most concrete point, but it still seems like dating back to even last year, Brad Stevens was doing it, and now Ime Udoka's doing it, just kind of throwing the whole kitchen sink at a game and seeing what sticks. And I don't like that, throwing whatever against the wall and seeing what sticks. All right, we're going to try and blow through some comments here. Guys, I know I'm super far behind, but if you guys are enjoying the stream, make sure to drop a like. There's more people in the stream right now than have liked the stream, so I guess we got a lot of Cavs fans in here. But if you are new around here, hit that subscribe button. And if you do want to like the stream, I appreciate it. And again, super chat, support the channel. Ryan super chatted earlier. Shout out to him. You skipped the line. And I answer your question, or at least give you your shout out right away. But let's keep going here. Lance saying, I'm hyped because Friday will be win against the Lakers. Yeah, I mean, who knows if the Lakers, Celtics will have that same vibe, just the way both teams are playing, and LeBron's going to be out. But Celtics, Lakers, nonetheless, excited about that. Sia saying, Marcus Smart, Jack Day, bad 3 attempt, whatever fourth after that. Schroeder went to the basket twice in a jumper in the lane. That's the difference. Wasn't a 3-point shots down the stretch. That's true. So yeah. I was just talking when I was going through Schroeder. I'm saying like what Schroeder's mentality was at that point was there's no chance that I'm going for a jump shot here. And jump shot, I mean like a risky jump shot. That pull up that he had in the lane was pretty much the same. But yeah, I mean I can give you that. Like Marcus Smart kind of talk about throwing a wrench into things. Dennis Schroeder's cooking and Marcus Smart throws up a 3. Evans checking in. Gregor's saying they should have traded Rob. He will never be a player you can depend on. It sucks because I don't want to believe that, Greg. Right? I don't want to believe that, but I also can't argue that right now, right? Like, who can argue that Robert Williams is going to stay healthy or he is going to be a dependable player? It sucks because you can't really argue that right now. Like, I just have to hope against you, right? And that's not an argument I can make. So Gregory, I mean, I can't deny what you're saying about Rob. I just hope that it's not the case because they paid him, they banked on him long term, and then, like, it's just, like, weird. He leaves with, like, a knee pain in the middle of a game, like, I don't know, like, something's wrong. It just sucks. It sucks. Like, I can admit that. I can admit that this is a guy that they're banking on, and, you know, it'll be worth the money. You're going to want to play and play and play and play and play and never sit out. And it's just every little thing. It's always bumps and bruises with him. It sucks. Let's see. Joe's saying Romeo's defense started the spark. I like what I saw. I liked what I saw out of him tonight for sure. Chris saying, who's the leader on the Celtics? I think that might be the problem. So back to your point about identity, right? It's true. Like, you'd like to say easy. Jayson Tatum's the leader, right? Or Jaylen Brown's leader, or Al Horford's leader, or Marcus Smart's leader. This team is filled with candidates to be a leader. None of them are even close to being a leader. That's the problem. Brandon's donating $2. Shout out to you, Brandon. Appreciate that. He says Tatum needs to drive to the basket. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. Because Jayson Tatum, you know, it's if the jump shot's not falling, let's not try and make it fall. Because it's not like he's a shooter where he's got to shoot out of things, right? Shoot out of it, shoot out of it, shoot out of it. No. That's not Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum is so well built, so crafty, so good, and I get it. He's had a rough stretch. He's only had a couple good games this year, but he is so good that if something's not working in his game, he can do something else and go be super successful. So if your jump shot's not working, 25% from 3 tonight, if the jump shot's not working, just say, screw the jump shot for now. And then all of a sudden, he'll get an open 3 and take it and make it. And he's like, oh, I kind of just got in the flow of things. I forgot that I was having a bad shooting night. But if you're going to try and force your 3, I don't love that because you can do so much else. If Jayson Tatum was strictly a 3-point shooter, he was a superstar in this league, all he could do is shoot 3s, right? Like Steph Curry or something. And I know Steph does a lot more than just shoot 3s, but I don't mind Steph Curry having a bad 3-point shooting night and just continuing to shoot, because why is he a superstar? What makes Steph so good? Shooting 3s. Jayson Tatum, he doesn't need to keep shooting 3s if he's sucking at it that night, because he can do so much else. You know, and it's not his, like, go-to. It's not the pillar of his success. So, yeah, thank you for the 2 there, Brandon. Guys, if you do want to super chat, just like Brandon did, make sure to drop a super chat here. I go to the question right away. I know I'm behind right now, but I couldn't agree more with Jayson Tatum. Just get to the hoop. And again, it's all to me. It's not hating on Jayson Tatum saying that. It's more like this seems too easy. Dude, if your jump shot's not working, get to the rack, right? Like, that doesn't seem like it's a very hard, confusing thing to me. Like, it seems like it would make total sense to me. And it seems like something, that's what I'm getting, like, fired up about. It seems like the thing that Jayson Tatum would be able to just understand, right? Like, oh, yeah, no, I'll do that. Easy. Because he can beat anyone one-on-one that's covering him. Let's see. Gear saying the Wizards look scary good. Yeah, I was watching that a little bit earlier. And, you know, they come back and they were losing at one point. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. and then they just kind of fight back. Like, that Wizards team's so much better. It's weird. The Cavs are better than we thought. The Wizards are better than we thought. It's weird. It's weird. Chris is agreeing with Tatum needs to drive. Joe saying Tatum can't even make a shot over Garland. I mean, if Tatum's on, he will. He makes a shot over anyone, right? But that's the point. Get on before you do that. You know, I'd like to see Tatum take that contested three after he just dunked on 3 guys in a row. OC saying Celtics need a true playmaker point guard. I hate Smart playing point. I think that you get Jaylen back, and I really do. And I got to eat crow here. Give myself a womp womp. Dennis Schroeder looks like the point guard of this team, not Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart, the positive I'll say about him is it looks like he's getting back to making those gritty plays and defensive stops and poking balls loose, getting his hands on the ball. I love that. But he just doesn't seem like he's fitting in and embracing that true point guard role. You know what I mean? So that blows because they kind of invested him in a sense of hey, go be this team's point guard. And, you paid him for, after this year, 4 more years to be your 6th man. That's going to kind of stink. But I don't think Smart's as bad as he has been in the past, but I think that's because I'm biased towards the fact that he's kind of getting back to I guess getting back to what he was when we loved him. You know what I mean? So here's the funny thing. Yeah, what we all loved about Marcus Smart, that went away for a while, and then it became this jump shooter, kill the offensive flow of Marcus Smart. This hasn't gone away. Marcus Smart's still doing those annoying offensive things. But now he's at least introducing some of the stuff we used to love, the diving on the floor, the poking balls free. So now he's got me kind of in this mental conflict of, do I like what he's doing? Do I not? I wish he would just kind of embrace the role of, okay, I got my paycheck. I don't need to be, constantly involved in the offense here. But I don't know if we'll ever get there. Ubi saying, same. I hate Smart. Always want to play hero ball in the floor. Smart, you're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. And it sucks because Smart's hit some big, opening night or one of these overtime nights? Smart hit the shot to send them to overtime, right? And it's almost like, okay, that's great. But, next game he's thinking, I can hit the big shot. And it's like, I don't care if you sent us to overtime. I don't want you knowing that's your role. Instead of being proud in that moment, hey, I sent us overtime, I feel like Marcus Smart rolls it into, I can make the big 4th quarter shot. And it's like, dude, you don't need to be the one. You're not that guy. And I do love Ubi saying, you're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. That's a great video. Ev saying, honestly, JT needs to go to the basket more instead of settling. I'd say start either JB or JT. Start either one of them. I don't know, man. OC saying, why Smart didn't guard Ricky? That's a good question. I mean, the Celtics, to me, it's like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the sort of who you guarding, because they switch everything. I do hear the point, put him on Ricky Rubio because he's going to drop buckets on you. They had him kind of moving around, but Dennis Schroeder, I didn't think did a bad job, but Ricky Rubio is kind of going off too. You know what I mean? So it's like if someone's going off, I don't know if it's like, I guess Marcus Smart could deter them from going off, right? But Ricky Rubio was balling out. I don't know if it was kind of I don't know if Marcus Smart would have stopped him because, Marcus Smart, I know I just gave him pumped air in his tires, but we're giving a lot today and we're taking a lot. I still don't think Marcus Smart is that true, put him on one guy and he stops and play right now. He's poking his head in there. He's making plays and everything like that. But to me, it's like Dennis Schroeder on ball versus Ricky Rubio and Marcus Smart on ball versus Ricky Rubio. I think you get to a very similar result, maybe 5 points less. I don't know. Evan saying Peyton Pritchard needs more burn. Yeah, I mean, that's weird. It's weird. It's really weird. You lose a guard in Jayson or Jaylen Brown. You have to start Marcus Smart and Dennis Schroeder lately, and you're not playing that backup point guard that you'd think you would desperately need. I don't know. Maybe Pritchard stinks when they have practice, or Udoka doesn't like him. I don't know. I thought they had that Portland connection. I don't know why Pritchard's not playing. And for anyone being Pritchard comes in, he's not making his shots. It's no kidding. Who's going to come in there and hit shots from half court like Pritchard likes to take with no momentum or no rhythm, right? I don't know why he's not playing. Chris saying throw in the kitchen thing is how it feels. He says he wants to and wants to like Rob Williams. That's where I am with Rob. I can fully admit he hasn't proven that yet, but I'm willing to I can admit that we haven't seen it, but I want to believe in Rob, right? Joe saying Schroeder's last 2 shots would not have worked if Mobley Allen was there. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, that's so hearsay, Joe. You know what I mean? Or like, ooh, that's so hypothetical. Like, oh, if he was in there, like, yeah, no kidding. And if Schroeder, was 3 inches taller, it would have worked. So it is what it is. Who knows if we would have even taken it if Jared Allen or Evan Mobley was in there? But I'm not gonna say it wrong, but I also don't think it really matters, right? Is that fair? Ubi saying, I think Al is definitely the leader. I hope so. Evan saying, put JT in the post. That's how he made his name at Duke. And his post game is deadly. Yeah, I'd love to see that. If he plays a little bit closer to the hoop. Deshaun saying, when does Tatum beat anyone one-on-one? Guys, we have to exclude this year from how we judge Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum can beat anyone one-on-one. He hasn't done it this year. He's a bad team year this year, but Deshaun, you know how good Jayson Tatum is. I'm not crazy saying Jayson Tatum can ISO someone and score on them. He's had a bad season. We know that. I can admit that. But, I mean, come on. Being like, when does he ever beat anyone one-on-one? I don't know. Chris saying, better than we thought is the term of the East this year. Yeah, I mean, think about it. You look at this. Let me pop up the standings here. If we pop up the standings here and look at the East, I mean, it's kind of shocking. All right? Like, who would have thought that this guy right here, the Wizards, up top there. Then we have, obviously, the Nets you expected. The Bulls, now, people, I mean, I believed in the Bulls. We talked about it on the show. I think the Bulls are legit. But them being the 3 seed, kind of crazy. Cavs being up there, crazy. Heat, I think we believed in. Sixers, Knicks, okay. Hornets kind of wowed people at the beginning of the year. But I think what the bigger deal is Celtics, Bucks, hell, throwing Pacers down there. Like, who would have thought that these teams, 9 through 12, wouldn't be in the 1 through 8 conversation right now. And they're right there. It's still super early in the year. I don't even think this is updated as of today. But it's pretty crazy to think about. Like just seeing the Wizards up top right now and getting a win tonight too. It's like, what the heck is this world? I will say though, the teams that I like in the West there are the Warriors and Suns. Now I'm not like dropping any jaws or breaking any news because they're in 1 and 2 seed, but man, the Suns after sort of starting the year bad, I feel like they've kind of turned it around. They have a lead right now against Minnesota. It's one of my NBA picks today. If you're not watching those videos every morning, make sure you are, but hopefully they hold on to that one. But they're on like a 9-8 game win streak right now. Like the league is kind of, I like it. I think maybe rule changes, injuries, whatever the reason is, the league has us on our toes this year, and I do like it. Let's see. I don't know if I'm saying this name right. I'm going to give it a chance. Nahul says, if Tatum could understand he's a power forward, we may be a competitive team, but with this Kobe style stupid plays, it's impossible not to curse at him. I can't deny that. I will say Jayson Tatum has the sort of hand-eye, has the ability to stretch it out a little bit more than a power forward. I would say let's roll this into, and again, I might be botching your name there, but let's bump Nahul's and Evan's point into one that get him in the post more. I don't need to say, Jayson Tatum, you're exclusively a power forward, right? I don't need to say, hey, Jayson Tatum, you're a big man, stop shooting threes. But if we could work his game more inside to out rather than outside to in the way he prioritizes things or looks at things, that seems like a match made in heaven, right? So I don't know if like true power forward, and maybe you're just saying it sort of play that like Giannis playing power forward. He doesn't really play like a power forward, that type of thing. That's totally fair. But in terms of if we want him to just be like a, hanging around the elbow to the block type of area, I think Jayson Tatum can stretch the floor, and I think he will stretch the floor. I think he just had a bad sort of start to the year in which people are jumping all over him. And here we go. Tiff with a perfect comment saying too much hate on JT and Smart. The hate on Smart, and again, I'm one of Smart's biggest defenders. I wanted him to get paid. I wanted him to be this team's point guard. I think Smart brings the hate on himself because he does sort of black and white. Dude, that wasn't a smart play, right? No pun intended. But Jayson Tatum, to me, it's like we're all smart enough to realize that Jayson Tatum by the end of the year is going to be really good, right? Like we know Jayson Tatum's not this type of a player, right? So that's why I refrain from saying all these crazy like knocks and really ragging on and hating on Jayson Tatum, because it's like I know I'm gonna get proven wrong. Like he is filthy, right? Like, can he do things better? Sure. But I think that like Jayson Tatum's gonna prove so many people wrong if we're saying he stinks and everything like that. Joe says, sadly, the mask took PP's power. Chris saying, when do we start thinking Udoka is the issue? Nice rhyme. So, it's a weird question. Like, is Udoka the issue? He's not, because this is how I'll back it up. And again, I'm not saying, and this is so weird to think about, guys. What if Udoka is just sort of like a placeholder? Like, what if, in 2 years from now, the Celtics have another coach and everything like that, right? It's so weird to think about because he hasn't done anything different, right? Like, it's, and again, this is super early. I don't want this to be cemented in or anything like that. But when you think about Udoka, it's like, okay, last year we hated this team. It's Brad Stevens' fault. It's Brad Stevens' fault. It's Brad Stevens' fault. All right, we get rid of Brad Stevens. Screw you, Brad Stevens. You're out of here, right? Now we bring in Udoka. Everyone thought this guy was going to be amazing, going to be the best coach ever, and blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, whoa. Very similar vibe to the team. Very similar vibe to what Brad Stevens was doing and everything like that. And then it's kind of like, okay, is it the coaching change is what's needed? I guess not. And again, we're just basing this off of all of, I guess, last year, maybe even a little bit before that. And then the first, 10 to 15 to probably once we see the first 20 sort of games this year, right? So it could all change. But it is weird to think about. It's like, okay, well, maybe, it wasn't the coach last year. And I know I'm taking that in a different direction because you said when is the coach the issue? I don't know if he'll be the issue, but I wonder if he's going to be the reason why all of a sudden Celtics players now look in the mirror and say, oh, maybe we're the issue. Maybe Marcus Smart, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, maybe they're the issue. If nothing changes because we thought a coaching change was going to, make a whole difference, right? This team has a very similar vibe in terms of how they start games, how they come out of half, and everything like that. So I don't know if the coach has anything to do with this year, I guess is the way that I would sum it up, right? Like, if anything, he's just opened the eyes of, okay, well, if the Celtics are going to play better, it's got to be on the players. Chris saying Tatum's issue is mental. I definitely think it's mental. Ubi says, I like Rob, but I want a 7-footer in the paint. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, I do think that would be, helpful. Like, Rob plays like a 7-footer, but when he plays, I guess, but having someone and maybe not 7-footer, throw like a 6'11", 6'10", something like that. But we have Al Horford, who whatever he is, Robert Williams is like 6'9", 6, like a bigger body maybe. Robert Williams sneaks. I like how what he has is that he can kind of sneak up on you with that wingspan, right? But yeah, it'd be nice to have a big body down there. Like if they had like a Steven Adams or even a Jonas Valanciunas or something like that, like some guy that's just like a enforcer down there. That's what I mean. It doesn't have to be 7 feet, just like a tough guy like that. Brendan saying, Celtics now 5-1 when holding teams under 100. Is this the identity they're working towards? That I would love. So when we talked identity, it's a great point to bring up. If their identity is we are going to make your life a living hell this game. We might not score 100 points, but you sure as shit aren't scoring 100 points either. And they might have low-scoring games against you and grind it out, and they hope to out-grit you. That's a great identity. But let's see the other side of that, right? Like, let's see them grinding it out. To me, they just kind of grinded down Cleveland, but they didn't sort of capitalize. Like, they could have put Cleveland away. You could have scored 105 points tonight and held Cleveland to 92, right? So it's like they still kind of grinded themselves out, which I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but what I mean is like the identity is only like half working then. You're doing it on the defensive end. How about grinding guys to death on the offensive end? Instead of turning the balls over, like making it easy for the other team. If that's your identity, you can't be doing that. Tiff saying the whole league jacks up threes now. It's true. And I mean, maybe we can't break Jayson Tatum out of that habit, but I'd like to. Saying we're only 15 games in. I mean, all this is real. Like, think about it. Guys, if you're gonna rag on me for making, rash reactions and everything like that, it's like, no kidding. What are we supposed to do? Start the post-game show and be like, you know what? Good game, Celtics won. See you guys next game. No, we got to talk about stuff. Sean saying this year's team would kill last year's team. I think so too. I'm just talking about how, forget it. Like, okay, last year's team was the 7 seed play-in team. And then this year's team becomes like the 6th, 5th seed the way they're going. It's like still the same, right? You're not leaps and bounds above where we were last year. And that's judging off of the trend so far. You're 500 now in the standings? You're a 500 team last year, just about. Like, that's what I mean. I don't think that I wouldn't rather last year's team by any means over this year's team, 100%. I've been saying I'm more of an old school type of coach/fan, so I'd love to see the 08 Celtics. We need a perk guy in the middle. That's kind of what I was getting at too. That's a good point. DeJuan saying Man, the Celtics had me nervous, but they cashed. They did. Chris saying it's true. Coach can't make the players play. Joe saying, I really think Ime should start at least one of the young ones, Romeo, Neesmith, and Peyton Pritchard. Who would it be? If you guys had to start one of those guys, Romeo, Neesmith, or Pritchard, who are you starting? If you had to start Romeo, Pritchard, or Neesmith, who do you think you're starting? Because it's not you think that's an easy one, but it's like, okay, well, when you think about who you're starting, you have to think about the role you're kind of creating and everything like that. Are you taking away from now the wing players of Jayson, Tatum, Jaylen Brown? If you start one of the wings, is Peyton Pritchard the point guard of the future? So who are you guys starting if you do roll with that? Because that is a good, I like that. I think that's a good question. And in terms of should they do it, so say let me blanket statement those. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it because I haven't loved what I've seen out of Marcus Smart. I don't think you need double big lineups. I think there is some room and flexibility with that starting lineup. So I say, why not just take a chance on some of these young guys? And if you don't start them, then hey, give them some run, right? Like, I think that it's great that Langford got, 15 tonight, Neesmith got 11 tonight, and Pritchard, I don't like that, but he got 5 minutes tonight. So give them some run, or at least pick one of them type of thing. We'll get to that in a second. What I just said, that I was trying to put up a poll. I couldn't figure it out, to be honest. But yeah, so Romeo Langford, Aaron Neesmith, or Peyton Pritchard, who would you start? You don't have to say why, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's get to some more comments. We'll catch up here. Evan says, someone to score 4 points in the game and do the things that don't show up in the stat sheet in the defensive end. Yeah, I mean, again, I think you do need, I know what you mean by 4 points a game. Like, you're going to need a little bit more of that. That's just how the NBA works now. Like, those big men are going to need to be somewhat offensive. But give me someone that, like a Garland or a Rubio or a Chetty Osman. Like, they come into the lane and it's like, oh, whoa. I don't want to score on that guy. I don't even want to try and score on that guy because I'm afraid of him. Like, that'd be nice, right? I don't even know if those guys truly, like, again, you have the Steven Adams, you have even Jonas Valanciunas, and even a big body like a Nurkic, those types of things, like, yeah, like, that'd be awesome. Like, having those sort of guys there being like, oh, you go for a layup, and you're like, oh, man, yep, let's pass that one, right? Like, the Celtics don't have that. I do love the sort of sneakiness of Robert Williams' defensive ability because people know he's a shot blocker. People know that he's a great defensive player, but people seem to forget when they come up into him. It's like, come up into him, pause, my bad. But when they come, and try and score on him, he's kind of like, oh, whoa, by the way, yeah, I look a lot smaller than I am. Boing, my arm's way up here and I blocked you. So, I don't want to like replace Robert Williams with another big man, but it'd be nice to bring in a nice and solid, just big guy as a backup big. And like a guy like Cantor, if he had defensive ability. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have to be athletic. He doesn't have to be anything. He doesn't have to be this. Doesn't have to be that. Just has to be a big body that can move somewhat. Like, Cantor would be a perfect body, but he can't move. Chris saying, I wish the C's had a kid, a solid point guard, not score first. Yeah, I mean, and I think Dennis Schroeder actually has been playing like that. Not tonight, but he's been scoring. He's been picking up the weight or slack, I guess, when Jalen's been out. But they still don't have that sort of guy that's like, oh, let's create, let's create for others. And Ricky Rubio is a decent example. He went off tonight, but he's averaging like 13 points a game this year, and the Cavs have been playing really good, right? So that type of player I would like. All right, so let's get into some of this. So I see Romeo, definitely Romeo. Evan saying start Peyton. So no votes for Neesmith, which kind of makes sense. I know that we only gave a couple minutes to vote there, but it makes sense. If you had to start Romeo Langford, Aaron Neesmith, and Peyton Pritchard, it makes sense as to why people are saying Romeo and then secondarily, I guess, Pritchard, because Romeo kind of has now taken all of that sort of shine away from Neesmith. I honestly think he has. I don't know if that's I don't know if he should have or anything like that, but I do think that Romeo looks like he's more ready to play. Is that because he's getting more run or whatnot? Who knows why, but I think that's kind of the fact right now. So, yeah, I think he'd probably be the first guy in line. I think we even saw that a couple times when guys were out in the preseason and whatnot. So Romeo's probably the first guy in line. And then Peyton Pritchard probably would be my second answer because that's the role that they need, right? So Romeo Langford because of his skill, but then Peyton Pritchard because of the sort of player that he can bring to the table. That pass forward first guy that can hit the open three, but he's not going to try and just overdo anything like that. So yeah. And I guess, I don't know, my ideal starting lineup has quickly turned into Dennis Schroeder, Jaylen, Jayson, Al Horford, and Robert Williams for the time being. my dream starting lineup, if it could work, would probably be like a Dennis Schroeder, Aaron Nesmith, Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, and Robert Williams. Like ideal starting lineup, but a couple of those names, mainly Aaron Nesmith, haven't really stepped up the plate for that yet. So how can I even say that with a straight face? But hey, we're working towards something, I guess. Guys, if you are in here and you have not liked the stream yet, make sure to drop a like. Subscribe if you are new. Make sure to drop a super chat too if you do want to support the show. We'll get to your question right away that you attach with it. A few more questions here before we close up shop for the night. Tiff saying 15 games in, people talking. Yeah, I don't think that it's like get rid of the coach yet, right? And that's kind of the point I was making, Tiff, is that like if anything, you're realizing the coach maybe wasn't the issue even last year. Raisin saying just waiting till Tatum breaks out of his slump. I think we'll win more of these games when we see that happens. Yeah, I think so too. And that's what I was saying. Like I'm avoiding ragging all over Jayson Tatum because I know that he's just going to prove me wrong. Right? Like Jayson Tatum is good enough to prove everyone in his chat tonight saying that he stinks. I know I'm paraphrasing, but anyone saying like, Jayson Tatum, he's doing this wrong. It's like, he will prove you wrong. We hope. And if he doesn't, then it's like, okay, well, you were right, but the Celtics stink. So, are you really happy? So to me, Tatum has a lot to improve upon. Like I totally agree with that. But I'm not like off the Tatum train yet. I'm certainly not off the Celtics train yet. Like we had that comment earlier, like yikes. Chris saying, can Pritchard become a point guard? Totally. Yeah. I think we've seen Pritchard play point guard. I know the hype is around his shooting and everything like that, but Pritchard can be a point guard. I have confidence in that. Can he be a really good point guard? Can he be a shooting point guard or a starting point guard? Excuse me. That's still sort of jury's out there, but yeah, he can be a point guard. Like I'm pretty confident that. I'll be honest. Maybe I'm just like optimistic about him, but I'm not even saying he'd be good. But he can be answering your question, Chris. He can be a point guard. Right? He is a point guard. He doesn't look like it because he likes to shoot, but I think that he's a point guard. Evan saying, I also love to see an 86 team vibe. Post guy like McHale, who would be JT here. A Robert Parrish guy, Rob Williams, and then a Danny Ainge, Peyton Pritchard. Okay. Yeah. I mean, then I guess you have Danny and Peyton, I could see that. JT and McHale, I think, are the two that are just like not. I wouldn't see. I mean, I guess you would say, and I didn't see those guys play in person. But what I will say is that Jayson Tatum, the thing that I wish that you could adopt is that being there, always kind of ready for the ball. That Celtics 86 team and those older teams are just so good at there's three guys with the opportunity to kind of score in any given play, if that makes sense. And it was all being created by who's drawing the attention and everything like that. There's no standing and watching with that team. And honestly, there's a lot less standing and watching in basketball back then. So if any of these guys could adopt anything from that or from those types of teams, it's that. Like even dumping the ball into, Bill Walton or something and cutting off of him and letting him set you up. It's like a lot of the times now you pass it into the post and you kind of stand there. Or you pass it into the post and you go screen away. It's a different type of game, but I would love to see the Celtics sort of bring that vibe of get the ball moving. Everyone sort of crashes the hoop. When a guy drives right, all of a sudden you have two guys coming left that they can get the dump off and an easy lay-in. Tiff saying, I think the extra muscle is causing a shot to be a little off. I think you are right about that. I think that the extra muscle on Jayson Tatum is causing his whole sort of his game to be off. Like I don't know if he truly knows what to do and when to do it, if that makes sense. So Jayson Tatum gets the ball and he prepared all summer and all off season to be this guy that will go right through you, right? But then he gets the ball and he's like, okay, let me try and get around you. Let me try and step back over you. It's like, that's what that's what he's done so far in his career. But he hasn't married what I've done in my career and what now I look like and weigh and should play like. If you were to get rid of this and, maybe introduce it every once in a while, but if you were to go to that sort of, hey, this is how I'm built, this is what I've worked for this offseason, and introduce a new sort of, hey, this is my game plan, this is what I do, this is my go-to move, then I think you're looking at a different player, because I do say, I agree there, Tiff, that his extra muscle, it's causing his shot to be a little off. I think it's also causing some sort of hesitation and doubt in his mind. He gets the ball and knows subconsciously knows he should just be bullying a guy and getting to the hoop. But he wants to pull up for three, or he likes the sidestep three that he's kind of patented, everything like that. So it stinks because he has it in him. He's already done the hard part. He's gained the weight. And we know Jayson Tatum's skillful enough to do it. I just want to see it happen. Evan's saying, again, JT's postgame is so deadly. That's why I'm saying Mikhail. No, I was almost saying you and I agree. I was almost saying, like, the only wrong way to go about that is limit Jayson Tatum, like we talked about before, to being strictly a power forward. Like, if he could do what Kevin McHale could do in terms of getting the ball in the post and making things happen, scoring, dishing it off, anything like that, yes. But I still don't want to put Jayson Tatum in a box and say, hey, you can't be on the three-point line, you can't be out there, anything like that. Like, I think that's the only thing that I'm saying. Like, Jayson Tatum, he could play like a big man. I don't want to necessarily put him in a big man's box yet. If he really continues to shoot 25% from three, it's like, well, then you're going to be like, okay, well, what do we do then, right? Like you gotta get closer to the hoop to score. All right, guys, we are going to call it a night. Celtics take the dub. You know, wasn't pretty. They did get the win, though, so we can be happy about that. Yeah. Who knows what the season's going to hold? I think the jury's still kind of out on how good or how bad this team could be. I'm still rooting for it. I know we had the comment in the chat earlier tonight saying, oh, you know, I'm off the Celtics team. They stink. They're trash like always. Everything like that, yada, yada, yada. I'm not there yet. I don't think you should be either. In fact, for that comment, I forget the guy's name. We'll give that comment a womp womp. But we will catch you guys in the next one. Hopefully we look at a little win streak here because the Celtics need to start playing some basketball. You got some weird teams towards the head of the Eastern Conference there. Have we play some catch up? But we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.